else to come and solve our issues. If you and your mother decide today in the house that you will not let your father bring bribe money in the house, no man will dare to go his home.
Voice of India wants to know whether students should be in politics or not, taking into all the apprehension, all the fears and all the worries into place. Your answer.
They should be in politics, but not in creating anarchy with the anti-national forces.
Topic of the debate today, India wants to know whether the ban on Chinese apps may turn out to be positive or negative. Professor Kapil Kumar, we want to know, the Voice of India wants to know whether the ban on Chinese apps, which was imposed by the central government, will turn out to be positive or negative. Was it a move in the right direction or not? Professor Kapil Kumar.
I take it as a very strong move towards the right direction, and I tell you why. Our youth excelled in IT revolution, and our youth is now coming forward to lead the knowledge revolution. So why do we have to depend on Chinese apps? This provides an opportunity to our young youth scientists working in Indian IITs, Indian engineering colleges, to develop their own apps and make India stand on its own feet. It's a challenge. And if we had continued with that Chinese apps, we would not have taken the challenge the way our youth and our scientists and IT professionals are taking up this challenge. And this challenge will take India further in a big way. So it is a right step. And I'm not saying only Chinese apps. Tell me one thing. Why should we buy from China our electricity lights for Diwali? Why should we buy from China our idols for our worship which we make? Why? Why should we get these things from there, which our own industry, which our own artisans, which our own people are producing? We have to come out, and this is a message for me, for Indian youth. Please come out from the trading mentality and enter into a mentality of manufacturers.
Sir,
give this trading mentality for centuries which has been there, and develop a mentality for manufacturer, entrepreneur and producer, and you will see the difference in this country.
Sir, I have one observation and my question will be based on that observation only. Softwares like TikTok, UC Browser, Hello has about 611 million downloads in India, while the download in the country of China, which has more population than us, is 196 million. So, and you are saying that why we will go for that? Sir, your explanation on my observation.
You see, one thing is that in this country since 1947, no attempt was made to make us come out from the colonial hangover. So anything which is foreign is better. You even recognize your academicians only when some foreign university gives them a fellowship. Your scientists only when someone foreign gives them a fellowship. What is Chinese material? The world knows. You see, China produces three kinds of things. One for their own domestic market, one for the South Asian market, one for the European market. And it has a lot of difference between the three. I've been 3 times to China. I've experienced China and I've studied China in a big way, and I've taught Chinese history for the last 44 years. The question is, it is marketing. What they are marketing. And let me tell you one very interesting thing why this is happening. You see, Russia wanted to bring communist revolution world over through revolutions and political mobilization. And Russia and Soviet Union fell down. Now China learned a lesson from that, and it realized that unless you emerge as an economic power, you will not be able to control the world. So China first emerged as an economic power, and now can you believe a Chinese Communist Party which claims to communism and Maoism and all that has become the biggest money lender of the world, and is behaving like a village money lender, that you lend money to that country and then you blackmail their country politically, doing into whatever you want to do. So these are interlinked things, you see, and that is why I am saying to do away with this yoke. Because let me tell you one thing, and I warn my youth on this. If we had, ages like Stone Age or Iron Age or Bronze Age or age of colonialism or imperialism, 21st century, I wrote this in a book much earlier, will be known as an age of government. You don't have to control directly anyone, either economy or through military and all that. All you control is the mind of the younger generation. So my younger generation will say, I want to buy Nike shoes. I want to eat McDowell. I will not go and eat in an Indian restaurant. So you control the mind. You enslave the mind. You don't have to enslave anything else.
But sir, I have an observation and a question over here. But we did not ban the apps because we felt that the youth should come up, India should grow. We only banned the apps when a line of LOC or the line of control was disturbed. So do you find that we have hard, it's your answer yes or no, that we have hard?
I totally agree with you on this. That it is a political decision taken, though this kind of decisions should be taken much earlier, keeping in view the entire think tank aspect of the country and the larger interests of the country, not only for the present 1 month or 15 days, but the long term of the interests of the country, what is going to be there in the next 20 years and next 30 years. So a policy is required in relation to that. When we talk of China, we can't take on China just because something has happened. So what I'm saying is that such crucial decisions have to be strategic decisions. They cannot be just tactical decisions, that a tactical decision is taken at one moment to stop something. No, you have to develop strategies for these kind of decisions in international relations, in international economy, in international business, or geopolitical defense matters of the country.
Sir, but when the ban has been there, a question in a yes or no form, I'd like to know whether it will hurt the Chinese in the right fashion, whether banning of their software, their application softwares, which are 600 million downloads in the country, has hurt them in the right place or not, and whether it will embolden other countries to adapt the same policy for hurting them, embolden the other countries.
You see, Mr. Biswas, China is one country. What one feels in China, they don't spell it out. What they will say, we have taken one step backward to move 2 steps forward in future. You know the common Leninist tactics in that regard. One step backward, 2 steps forward. That kind of a thing. They have been badly hurt, and let me tell you, the decline of China has started. The decline of China has started. I had said this 10 years back in one of my lectures, that the way China is trying to dominate the world politically, economically, culturally also, I said China is digging its own grave. And I tell you what is going to happen now. Even the smallest countries, which China endangers their borders either in South China Sea or through the land borders, even those countries are speaking out now. And a future is not far when these companies will form a sort of consortium and they will act together against China, and this China's blackmailing and threatening thing will be no more there. And let me tell you what more is happening in China inside. In Chinese history, there is a concept of Tian. Tian means the heavenly, permission to the ruler to rule. And Chinese history shows us that when floods came, when disorders came, this thing happened, the people will realize that this Tian has been taken back by the God and it's time to revolt. What is happening in China today? Today only the news has come. How they have diverted their flooded rivers to the poor, to the countryside. The Chinese labor in the world are the most exploited, underpaid labor in the world. So what is now happening in China? Even Jinping and the Communist Party will be in trouble in China. You see what is happening in Hong Kong. The impact of Hong Kong is there in China. Chinese are no more fools now. The common population there is knowing now what's happening and speaking out. Otherwise, you won't have heard that how Wuhan spread COVID. It came out from the Chinese doctors and Chinese scientists only. So things are changing in China.
So thank you for your observation, sir. Now, taking cue from your address on the Chinese floods, let me debate. The Voice of India wants to know that if India starts acting on yearly floods in Bihar also, would there be true nationalism? That I would like to know, because Bihar and Assam, there are tremendous floods in the midst of the pandemic, and the Voice of India wants to know whether the yearly floods in Bihar and Assam would be true nationalism or not.
could be.
Yearly floods which are happening in Bihar and Assam. If India wants to start on that, would it be true nationalism? Our Voice of India feels that the deficit of the public policy, dyslexia and lack of political will lies at the root of the tragedy of flooding in Assam and Bihar. Your talk on that.
Yeah, let me tell you one thing. Let me come to Bihar first. You see why Bihar remained underdeveloped. And I'll include Eastern UP in that. As a student of history, let me tell you, these were the regions of 1857 which had challenged the British and thrown out the British. And the British very intentionally kept these regions underdeveloped. They didn't let them develop it out. And same is for a region like Bundelkhand, because then even after independence, it is the Sindhiyas who ruled. And they didn't let the Rani Jhansi region go up in terms of development and all. Northeast, if you pick up, there was one letter written by Sardar Patel. You can Google it out. A letter written, I think, on 15th November 1950 or 7th November 1950. I'm forgetting the exact date. In which Sardar Patel lists out that what China is going to do to India. And this is 1950. And there he says, develop the infrastructure of Northeast. Develop roads in Northeast. Develop all these things in Northeast. What we did? Recall in 1946 Meerut session of the Congress, where a congressman from Nagaland makes a speech and says that how the American missionaries are telling the Nagas over there to revolt against India in a fight for an independent Nagaland. And what Nehru said? India's freedom struggle will not be fought from Nagaland. We never. Why did we consider them as peripheral regions? They are our Indians. Why do we treat them as something in the far things and all? And we keep saying they have to be integrated in the mainstream. Every part of India, every region of India on Indian soil is the mainstream of India. Why this thing was projected in 70 years that mainstream is only which comes from Delhi and the remote areas of Assam and Tripura and Manipur are not the mainstream of India? They are the mainstream.
So, sir, you agree that there has been attention deficit. Do you agree that there has been dyslexia of the policy makers?
Definitely. Now a change is taking place. A change is taking place. I am so happy now to see so many people from Nagaland in Delhi. 3 students did their PhDs under me from Manipur. So all these things which are happening now, and people know each other. People are meeting each other. If you see, one time when I was the FEDCUTA president, I held a meeting in Nagaland. I used to go there. So I inquired from Nagaland. They told me Nagaland everything is fine. Only Assam is problem. I asked from Assam. They said Assam is okay. Nagaland a problem. I said nowhere is a problem. I went to Guwahati by air, took my car and went up to Nagaland enjoying the beautiful area. Why don't the Indians explore Northeast? What a beautiful region it is. What a lovely people they are. Don't forget that these were the people of Manipur and Nagaland who supported the Azad Hind Fauj, India's independence. Don't forget that Morang was the place where the Azad Hind Undivided India's flag was launched, where the government of Azad Hind Sarkar continued over there. Did we ever preach in this country? Because that didn't suit the politicians who were ruling the country. They are our loving regions and we have to do everything for them.
Thank you, sir.
Otherwise, you will have to live with corona now, like dengue or like viral fever or anything. We have become a cyber COVID warrior. How? Pick up your phone and WhatsApp and the false messages you get and the rumors who are spreading, immediately report those numbers.